Hey guys, Superhorrorbro Mike here, and in today's video, we explore the lore behind Poppy Playtime Chapter 2. While this video won't go in depth with theories about every aspect of this toy nightmare, it will recap overall events and use the information we are given to explain what is happening on a surface level. So with that disclaimer out the way, sit back, relax, and let's get started. This is the story of Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 Explained. Previously, our hapless hero, once a worker at Playtime Co. Toy Factory, had returned to their old workplace after receiving a strange note and VHS tape. This new note informed them of how staff who mysteriously disappeared were in fact still at the factory, and to find the flower for answers. The videotape showing said flower, a giant poppy painted around a door. After returning to the factory and discovering the company's beloved blue mascot Huggy Wuggy was now a living toy killing machine, our adventurer managed to defeat it during a hair-raising chase sequence before finding themselves lost deep in the depths of the factory. Here they did indeed find the flower included on the VHS tape. Stepping through the door, the protagonist soon discovers one of Playtime's earliest breakthrough toys, Poppy Playtime herself, locked away inside a case. Upon opening it, the doll blinked to life.
You opened my case.
Chapter 2 begins moments after this shocking revelation, but Poppy Playtime is nowhere to be seen. We continue on, moving through a previously inaccessible door, all prior exits now blocked. This path leads to the office of Playtime founder Elliot Ludwig, and we discover a VHS tape which explains a little more about him.
Playtime Co. is the product of a great man by the name of Elliot Ludwig, divorced but a family man at heart. His sights were always set on bringing amazing toys to amazing children around the globe. Ludwig spent countless hours in the factory, working overtime relentlessly in an attempt to continuously innovate and surprise. In the 1960s, an unfortunate family death had pushed Ludwig down to his lowest. But with so much ambition, he rose back up and continued to fulfill his vision for the Playtime Co. Toy Factory. Ludwig could never be content leaving a project unfinished. But just how did one man come to create such an astounding empire? How did he manage to stay determined even after suffering such a tragic loss? It all began in the fateful year of 19...
Elliot was driven by a death in his family to go beyond the simple creation of groundbreaking toys. A note in his office reveals a grim reality. Elliot had involved himself in the pursuit of sacrilegious practice, murder, and resurrection. Looking for ways to bring back his lost love using the poppy, a flower some cultures believe to promise resurrection. Tests began by using animals such as rats, but after failing, Ludwig set his sights on bigger and potentially more human subjects. Could the family member he lost have been his young daughter? And therefore could this mean her resurrected spirit ended up inside Poppy? For now, we can only speculate. Speaking of Poppy, she shows back up moments later, though this doll does not appear to be hostile. Quite the opposite in fact, offering to lend a helping hand every step of the way.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I was just trying to get the power back on. Here.
Poppy leads the protagonist through the factory and toward the exit. But things are never quite that easy, and it isn't long before Poppy is snatched away by a mysterious, stretchy appendage. After dropping into the void in hot pursuit, we soon meet the perpetrator, a giant, stretchy, spider-like toy called Mommy Longlegs.
Isn't this exciting, Poppy? Very exciting, Mommy. Mommy heard that Miss Poppy was going to just give you the train code to escape. Now, how is that fun? Instead, Why don't we make a game out of it? The game station is still working. It will be just like old times. And if you win all 3 games, I'll give you the train code. Mommy loves that idea, Poppy. Oh, you're going to have so much fun. Head to musical memory, and Mommy will get things started.
In order to save Poppy Playtime and escape this wretched toy factory, our hero will have to play along with Mommy and take part in her games. This leads us to a hub area known as the Game Station. On the surface, the Game Station seems like a harmless and fun play zone. There's a wacky looking train, a play area full of climbing frames, swings and slides, and 3 tunnels leading to mini-game zones. Musical memory, Whack-a-Wuggy, and statues respectively. However, while seemingly innocent, this game station was in fact a place of nefarious scientific research. As we make our way through Chapter 2, we discover a series of company documents, which paint a grisly picture of what really went down here. Think back to the Adopt an Orphan Care Initiative set up by Playtime Co., a program which we heard about back in Poppy Playtime Chapter 1. This program encouraged Playtime employees to adopt children in need of homes by way of financial gain and other perks, so many of the workers took part in this initiative and became adoptive parents. We had theorized these orphans would then be used in secret as part of Playtime Co.'s experiments in an attempt to bring their toys to life. From evidence found in Chapter 2, it seems this theory is correct.
Am I a real boy? I love you. The button hurts me.
The adoptive parents brought their children to work, where they believed they were being left in a daycare while going to work at the factory. Unaware that the train their loved ones were loaded onto was in fact not just stopping at the playcare, but going deeper underground to a secret subterranean wing of the factory. Here, under the watchful eye of Stella Graber, a series of tests could be run on these children.
Hi kids, welcome to the Game Station. I'm Stella, and we've got 3 super duper fun games to play. These little tests show us just how crazy strong and smart you are. Follow Mommy Longlegs down the stairs, and we'll start by playing musical memory. See you in a bit.
Yes, that's right, the very same Stella who applied for a rather mundane job on the factory production line impressed her new employer so much with her quirky, childlike thought process that she quickly rose in the ranks, eventually becoming part of these shady child experiments.
So, Stella, what made you want to work at the Playtime Co. factory?
Playing with toys when I was young was so magical. Being able to work at a toy factory, somewhere that can provide kids with that same experience, that's a pretty great feeling too. Sometimes though, I really wish I could go back. To being a kid, I mean.
Each of the children brought down to this game station were assigned a proctor, a member of a research team who would assess the child's progress as they took part in the 3 aforementioned tests. Musical memory was designed to test composure, memory, and pattern recognition. Whack-a-Wuggy focused on hand-to-eye coordination and reaction time, while statues zeroed in on a child's agility, strength, and speed. Children were tested one at a time, and all reports were then delivered to Stella by the day's end. The children were then returned to their parents, the Playtime employees who adopted them, thinking they had been in the caring hands of a company's daycare while at work. If anyone asked any questions, the children would have just said they were taking part in fun games. The perfect cover-up. But what were these tests all about? We see evidence that as the children took part in each test, they were assigned a toy. We also see evidence that children on occasion witnessed the death of their proctors at the hands of the living toys. This in turn worsening their performance and putting them more on edge. Was this psychological suffering part of a greater plan? A plan to in some way make the children bond with their given toy, and at some point becoming one with them? Moreover, for the scientists to also observe how the living toys such as Mommy Longlegs would act around the children, especially when adults were present. This requires further analysis, and so will be the subject of a future dedicated theory video. In order to escape the facility and locate Poppy, our protagonist must brave all 3 of these tests. We start with musical memory, whereby we are tasked with remembering and then inputting colour and symbol-based patterns as a bloodthirsty symbol-clashing rabbit named Bunzo eerily lowers from the ceiling above, all while under the watchful eye of Mommy Longlegs, who watches from the safety of the observation chamber. Ironically, the very spot the scientists who once monitored her would have stood. Next up is Whack-a-Wuggy. In this game we must act fast and whack mini Huggy Wuggy toys as they crawl towards us from 18 different holes in the walls. These living versions of Huggy attack if they reach us. When children took part in these tests, the Huggies were restrained by strings, but for us, Mommy has kindly removed them.
The toys in this game used to have strings attached to them, so they could be pulled back when they got too close to the children. Have fun.
After surviving the onslaught of Huggies, we find ourselves in a minecart area, a place used for ferrying about broken toys. The entrance ahead is blocked, and as we approach it, a terrifying silhouette emerges at the end of a hallway. It seems Huggy Wuggy has returned from the dead. Or has he? No, this is something else, Huggy's female variant, Kissy Missy. As Kissy approaches, she seems calm, smiling warmly and opening the gates before shuffling off into the distance. Why does Kissy not attack? For whatever reason, this living mascot is not currently a bloodthirsty killing machine. But why? Once again, this requires a dedicated theory video, so look for that coming soon. The final test is called Statues. This test requires the participant to navigate a vast playground area under the cover of darkness. When the lights go out, we can move freely. When the lights turn on, we must stand still. Pretty simple, right? Well, not quite. You see, if one should choose to move forward while the lights are on, then PJ Pugapillar, a giant ravenous caterpillar, will gobble them up whole. The protagonist reaches the other side of this test and realizes it's a dead end. This final game was a setup we were never meant to survive. Quickly swinging to a grapple point, our hero crashes through a high-up observation window and manages to escape into the underground via a hole in the floor. At this point in the video, it's worth taking a few moments to briefly summarise who Mommy Longlegs is and her history as a living toy experiment. Originally, as shown in the commercial that opens the chapter, Mommy Longlegs was a popular and very stretchy elasticated toy who emerged from Playtime Co. in the early 90s, along with the tagline, "She loves to watch you play." This is true of her living toy variant, who was used to observe and accompany the child test subjects in the game station each day. It also appears that Mommy was part of a family of 3, as seen in this poster here. We discover a note labelled Transfer Request, which gives us plenty of details on Mommy Longlegs and reveals a sinister truth. At the top of the note, you'll notice the word subject, followed by the name Marie Payne. Now, while this could simply be the name of the note's author, it seems unlikely, as in other notes, subject is used to describe the test subject specifically. So by this logic, we can assume that Mommy Longlegs derives from human origin, created from the body of a woman named Marie, who, just like the rat in Elliot's note, was submerged in poppy and gel mixture after death before being shocked back to life. This also now confirms why these toys seemingly bleed upon death. Their bodies contain human organs, the bodies and souls of those resurrected trapped within their plastic outer shells. Another one of our prior theories that now seems to have been proven true. This note tells us that Mommy was hostile and dangerous towards staff members, but docile and friendly around the orphan children experiments. She even acted to protect them, which is why Playtime scientists were instructed to keep a minimum of 20 feet away at all times. The scientists used the presence of the children to keep Mommy calm as she tended to their well-being. The children kept her focused. Now in their absence, Mommy has become twisted, alone with her thoughts, and vengeful towards the scientists who wronged her, including, it would seem, our protagonist, who it is suggested was part of this secret team.
It was always so sad to see the kids go. They called me Mommy because I was the closest thing they ever had to one. But they come for games and never come back. They left Mommy to die alone. Mommy didn't deserve that. But you worked here. So if anyone deserves to die alone, it's you.
This also explains why Huggy Wuggy turned feral too. These toys were kept docile by the influence of children who they could play with each day. Without these children, the minds of these experiments turned to murderous thoughts. It also seems that general workers at the studio had no idea about the creation of these horrific toy experiments. This is evident in a recording from both employee Marcus Brickley and an announcement from management in regards to rumours of a giant spider on the premises.
So, I took a peek beneath the gate, and some massive bloody thing was doddering about the bloody hallway.
Thing? You're sure it wasn't a person?
Ain't no person that's 50 feet long with 1,000 legs.
Marcus, you're losing me.
The following is a pre-recorded announcement to address the many complaints regarding an alleged very, very big spider crawling around in the facility. The Playtime Corporation wants me to remind you all that spiders that big do not exist.
Mommy Longlegs put our protagonist through these tests as an ironic punishment, to inflict the same stress and misery upon a former employee as they once inflicted upon the orphan children. Perhaps Marie Payne was herself a proctor, who met a sticky end while monitoring a child. It has now become obvious to Mommy that our hero has no intention of returning to her after escaping into the depths of the factory. With the jig up, she reverts to her true, unhinged form.
I asked you to play fair, and you cheated! I hate cheaters! Now, we're going to play one last game! It's called Hide and Seek!
This leads to a twisted game of hide and seek between Mommy and the former Playtime worker as they are chased deeper into the depths of the factory. Along the way, discovering a note from Playtime's head of construction, Eddie Ritterman, who contracted a third party, the Warrenbach Construction Company, to build a secret laboratory deep underground, so that testing could begin. It seems time was of the essence too, as a 12-month deadline was applied. The underground begins to collapse, torn down as Mommy gets more and more frustrated at the protagonist's evasive actions. Eventually, a desperate chase ensues. At the end of this chase, we finally make it to the emergency exit and escape back into the upper levels of the factory. Upon passing through the emergency exit and powering up the door at the far side, Mommy Longlegs emerges screaming at the end of the hall and rushes the player. We step out of the way and her hand becomes caught in a grinder. Our only option is to flip the switch and watch in horror as Mommy meets a brutal demise. After Mommy's torso hits the floor, the life has drained from her. Notice how her face returns to a smile, the exact same expression featured on the original Mommy Longlegs toy. Then a mechanical claw emerges from underneath a nearby shutter and drags Mommy's remains into the darkness. This is Experiment 1006, the prototype. As we recall Mommy's harrowing screams, you may remember she seemed more concerned with becoming part of him than the agonizing pain of her immediate death. This suggests that whatever Experiment 1006 is, he is merging with the bodies of fallen toys such as Huggy and Mommy. But to what end? Well, currently there is no way to know for sure, so of course this will be the topic of the third upcoming theory video, so stay tuned for that. You might be asking, how do we know that this claw belongs to prototype Experiment 1006? Well, the same claw belonging to this creature appears on screen while playing the scientist's log in regard to this very experiment. We discovered the first of these in Chapter 1, which detailed how this prototype escaped and then ran rampant throughout the factory. The second tape documents another escape attempt by this mysterious prototype.
Log code 08502. In relation, Experiment 1006, the prototype. A close call occurred this week in which he nearly breached containment. The prototype seemingly disassembled the digital alarm clock within his room and utilized the battery, along with several other components, to create a laser pointer, which he then fired into the security camera, disabling it. These actions allowed him 28.3 seconds completely unmonitored. Once function returned to the camera, the room appeared to be empty. One surveillance specialist went in to confirm his absence. However, upon opening the door, she realized that the prototype had hidden in one of the camera's blind spots. The prototype attempted to escape through the open door. However, another surveillance specialist was able to remotely relock the door, despite the other specialists still being inside. One casualty occurred. The prototype seems to possess an unprecedented level of intelligence, beyond that of all other test subjects, as well as an alarming willingness to commit violence. Further suppression treatments will need to be enacted to ensure that no other experiments develop these qualities. Experiment 1170, Huggy Wuggy, remains the optimal outcome due to his sufficient intelligence paired with maximum obedience. End of log.
After meeting the prototype, our protagonist finally reaches the game station area once more, emerging on the catwalk leading to the control room where scientists would observe from a safe distance. Here, Poppy has been webbed up and restrained by Mommy. Upon freeing her, Poppy's cute and carefree persona seems to have taken a sinister turn.
Did you kill her? Good. I'll board the train. We need to leave.
Poppy seems to have become colder, more distant, and a little crueler. But nonetheless, we follow her instructions and board the train, using the input code gained by taking part in each minigame to get it back up and running. It seems for a while as if everything is on the right track, so to speak. The train pulls out of the game station and heads towards the exit, leading us safely out of the factory, until Poppy has a change of heart.
I was so scared she'd put me back in that case. But you saved me. You are perfect. Too perfect to lose. I'm sorry. I can't let you leave. I've never met anyone like you. Do you know how long I've been stuck in that case? Well, too long. I had so much time to think and reflect. Time to figure out exactly what I would do when free. We'll set things right. Terrible things have happened. But I know that whatever I need you to do, you're capable. We will.
It now seems as though Poppy wishes to keep us at Playtime Co. She feels there is unfinished business here and wishes to use us as a tool to right the wrongs inflicted upon her and the other experiments. But to what end? And what happened to Poppy at the end of that message? Unfortunately, these are questions that must wait until the release of Chapter 3 and beyond. But in the meantime, stay tuned for my series of deep dive theories and more on Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 in the coming weeks. The train gathers speed, but is so old the brakes stop working and the entire thing derails, leaving our hapless hero stranded in the dark. In the faint glow of the headlights, a sign can be made out. It reads, "Play care." And with that, we come to the end of this video and a look at the story of Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 explained. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it both entertaining and informative. If you did, remember to leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for more horror related content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.